Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they've developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine podcast. I'm super excited. When I started thinking about this podcast, I knew right away that I was going to have this guest on my podcast. My guest today is Amberly Lago, and she is such an amazing person. I've known her for almost, I want to say about 5 years, going on 5 years. I first heard her speak virtually, and then I got to meet her several times, got to be even present and help her out at one of her events. I don't even know. It's probably been at least 10 times I've heard her speak. And every time I hear her speak, there's just another thing, another inspirational message that she gives me. And so I am so thankful to have her on here today. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is an internationally renowned speaker on grit, resilience, and human connection, inspiring others to find joy through life's journey. She's the author of 2 amazing books. One of them is True Grit and Grace, and her newest release is Joy Through the Journey, which focuses on finding joy despite your hardships, uncertainty, and being in pain. She has captivated audience of global corporations like Lululemon, Google, Athleta, and Herbalife, and her TED Talk has generated hundreds of thousands of views worldwide. She is a highly sought-after thought leader, coach, and best-selling author, and her expertise have been featured in prominent media outlets such as People, Forbes, US Today, where she was named one of the nation's top influential speakers. She's also been on The Doctors, Hallmark, and The Today Show. Thank you, Amberly, for being here today with me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's so good to see you again. And yes, I'll forever be grateful for you for showing up and volunteering at my event, my annual event. So thank you for all that you do and all the goodness that you do in the world.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. One of the things that I just love about you is that you're just a true person. You're authentic, you are humble, and you're just amazing. You're into fitness. You just do all these things. And when I read through that list, it's like, wow, this is somebody of such inspiration. And it must be easy, right? That's what people may assume. But you had to work hard to get to where you are today. And can you kind of take us through your journey of how you got to where you are today? And has it always been this way? Can you kind of go back?
Yeah, well, thank you. And often I hear you reading off my bio and I'm like, oh, yeah, I did that show and I did this and that. And I'm like, it's kind of the highlight reel. It doesn't share like how many times I've messed up, failed, fallen flat on my face, like literally fallen on my face. um, and so, yeah, it's been a lot of grit to get to where I am, and I'm still learning and growing and still trying to figure things out and just be the best person that I can be. But I think that growing up in Texas and, didn't have nobody, well, people rarely have an easy childhood. Mine definitely wasn't easy, but it taught me a lot. It taught me about resilience. It taught me that if I want something, I'm going to have to work for it. And so later in life, it is, I think, growing up the way that I did. We didn't have much money. If I bought my first car, if I wanted a car, then I had to find a job and work and buy it on my own. So I started working when I was 13. By the time I was a senior in high school, I had 4 different jobs, and I was honor student and graduated Miss Greenville High School. And I say that because um, I didn't make excuses, and I had a why. I didn't know how I was going to get through things, and I didn't want to focus on the what or the how, because that would get me spiraling down into like, I don't know what I'm going to do and can't figure this out. But I knew why I was going to work those 4 jobs, because I wanted to move to LA. I wanted to get out of that small town. I felt like I had a lot of pain growing up, and I think pain pushes you until your purpose pulls you. Well, pain was pushing me to get out of that small town, and I was going to make something of myself and be a professional dancer in Hollywood. And as if you can imagine, I had everybody, including my parents, telling me, don't do it. You'll never make it. You're crazy. Who do you think you are? Even my dance teacher did not want me to leave because I was the busiest dance instructor at her studio. She would have been much more comfortable, happy if I stayed in this small town and just continued to teach dance. And so I saved up $1,200. I packed up my car and moved to Hollywood. And a month later is when people saw me dancing on, that's back when MTV was huge. And I got booked. Made the audition and was dancing on MC Hammer's music video, Can't Touch This. And then I was in Elle. I don't know if you remember that magazine, Elle. I don't even know if it's still around. I was in Elle magazine. And I was going to Japan and then all of a sudden people were like, "Oh, see, I knew you would make it. I knew you would do it." And so for me, I don't know, call me crazy, but when somebody tells me I can't do something, it is motivating to me. And I feel like if you tell a woman she can't do something, that's the first thing she's going to do. She's going to go out there and do it. And so I let the naysayers and the negativity, I turned that into fuel to keep moving forward. And it's carried through my entrepreneurial journey. It carried through when I wrote my first book. People told me, "Oh, you'll never be able to write a book," and I don't blame them. I didn't own a computer, didn't have a college education, or I don't have a college education. But that I was like, "Oh, you don't think I can write a book? Well, then for sure I'm gonna write one." I remember, I was in the fitness industry for 26 years, and I was dating a guy, and he's like, "That's not a real job. Get a real job." Well, guess what? It was a career. It wasn't a job. It was my passion. I then helped other trainers get certified to become fitness instructors and certified fitness trainers. And it helped me learn to walk again because I was stuck in a hospital bed after a horrific motorcycle accident, and nobody was going to walk for me. If I wanted to learn to walk again, it was up to me. And so I feel like growing up with the conditions taught me grit, taught me resilience. Being an athlete taught me the mindset to keep going. Being a dancer taught me how to push through pain. But pain has been my biggest teacher. And now, later in life, I have learned after being diagnosed with a nerve disease and living with constant chronic pain, I've had to learn that it's not all about the grit. That if you really want to be resilient, it's not just gritting it out. Grit without connection is resistance. And I've learned grit with connection and community and joy. That's where you really find resilience.
I love that. I love that. I didn't know some of that part that you started working at 13 and growing in a very poor background and things like that. And it just again, like, I always find these connections that you and I have in common, some things that we've had, and we've talked about it, in private, but one of the things is I started working at a very young age, started working at 10 years old, babysitting, and actually 8, trying to water people's lawns and babysitting and doing all of these things because I also was born in a very poor environment, and I knew I wanted to get out, and I had the same thing where people said, "You know, why do you wanna leave?" and all of these other things, and I was like, "I'm gonna make it big in this world, I'm gonna do something." And it took me a long time to get to I mean, I worked, I did all the things, I graduated with honors, I bought my own car too, just like you. I bought my own car, but I still had to pay for my driver's license, like, take all the tests, so I had the car first. I love my mom so much, and she's such a motivator to me, but she would drive my car, while I was waiting to get my own license. She's like, "Oh, well, this is a nice car, I'll just drive your car." And I was just like,
Oh,
yeah, but it's funny because we laugh about it now because now I drive her everywhere because she can't, she can't really do a lot of things, but it's just it was a motivator, and I so can have that connection with you, and it's when people say you can't, it's like, "Okay, watch me." I used to get in trouble a lot as a child and would go in the corner, get put in the corner because I would, like, be argumentative, not in a bad way, but it's like, if you can't do something, or you telling me no, I wanna know why you're telling me, "No, I can't do this," or why this isn't working, or how does this work? And I would ask so many questions. And now here I am. I'm getting to be able to be a podcaster and ask all the questions and do all the things. So it's like God was preparing me for it, and I just had to push through it,
yes.
right?
Yeah, and you know what? I started babysitting at 8 years old too, and I got paid $1 per child. So I had a family that lived across the street, and they had 3 kids, and I felt like I was rich because I was getting $1 per kid and to think about it, like, when I was 8 years old changing diapers, and
Mhm.
people trusted me to watch their child, an infant. I had one that was like an infant, and I babysat. It's crazy. It's that was a different world. I can't imagine having an 8-year-old come and babysit for me. Not that I need a
Mhm.
babysitter anymore, but for my
Yeah.
kids are grown. But yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I just love all of that. And you mentioned, you touched it on it briefly, that you had been hit while driving your motorcycle, you were hit, and you were in the hospital. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that and all the things that you went through during that time?
Yeah, I was on my way home from work, and it was a holiday weekend, and I get on my Harley and I'm headed home. And as a motorcyclist, you learn to drive very defensively, meaning
Mhm.
you look at your surroundings. Um, and so I was driving, I saw a guy that was about to pull out, but I thought, okay, he sees me. He's going to wait for me. And he didn't. I guess maybe he saw through me or didn't see me, but he shot out of a parking lot. I was T-boned, thrown about 30 feet, and taken to the hospital, and they had to put me in a coma, in an induced coma, because I'd lost so much blood. My leg was crushed and my femoral artery was severed, so my organs were shutting down, um, and they couldn't control the pain. So they put me in induced coma. And when I woke up out of a coma, is the first thing they told me was, "You know what? We are so sorry. There's nothing we can do for you. Your leg is like a war wound. We need to amputate." And so I was just like, wow, I'm waking up out of a coma, learning that they're going to amputate my leg, and being in track as a kid, setting the record for running the fastest mile in the state of Texas, having a dance career, having a fitness career where I was a walking billboard for my business. That's before social media. I didn't, and so
Mhm.
I represented fitness, like, come train with me. And now they're going to amputate my leg, and I was devastated. But they said, you've only got a 1% chance of saving it, and that 1% chance is what I held on to. That was my glimmer of hope. And we found a doctor that was willing to save it. I got transferred to another hospital. That took an act of God, a lot of prayers, a lot of calling in favors of people who knew doctors. And and got transferred, and then surgery after surgery after surgery, 34 in total. They were able to save my leg from amputation. And that was really the beginning. It was hell, but it was the beginning, because little did I know that, I'm going to get out of the hospital. And one of my first doctor's visits afterwards, this is about 4 months after my accident, I'd spent all this time in the hospital, got out, go in, and I'm thinking, this doctor is going to be so proud of me. I am upright on my crutches. And he takes one look at me and examines me, and he says, well, you've got something very serious. And I was kind of like, well, yeah, I got hit by an SUV, but look, I'm upright. And he goes, are you the kind of girl that likes to push through pain? And I was like, well, yeah. And he said, well, you need to stop. And was like, but I'm doing so well. And he says, no, you've got something very serious. You've got a nerve disease called complex regional pain syndrome. Your life is never going to be the same. He goes, you need to go back and get in your wheelchair. And I said, okay, well, for how long? And he said, forever. He goes, no, you're going to be permanently disabled. You won't walk again. And Angelina, I left there and I cried the whole way home. I felt like I had been kicked in the gut. I was devastated. But I didn't get back in my wheelchair. Instead, I went straight to physical therapy. And my physical therapist at the time, his name was Terry, and he goes, what are you doing here, Amberly? You don't have an appointment today. And I said, oh, I know I don't, but you know what? I just learned something. And if I want to have the life that I've always imagined, I'm going to have to work harder than I've ever worked before. I didn't realize it was going to be so hard, but, and it still is hard. Some days are, I mean, we were supposed to record this podcast and I had to cancel. I just got out of the hospital again 3 weeks ago. So it's not like I had made it through this and everything's good. And, I'm resilient. Resilience isn't about bouncing back. Resilience is about choosing the courage to move forward and have a life of joy and happiness, even when things don't go as planned. And it's really choosing to play the heck out of the cards you've been dealt. And so I'm passionate about sharing everything that I've learned on this journey, because, a lot of people might be going, well, I don't relate. I've never been hit by a car. And I pray none of you ever experience that. But we've all been hit by something, whether it's our health, our relationships, our finances, our business. But there are absolutely ways to climb out, to get up, to keep going, to come out of the darkness and see the light. And so, this accident and everything I've learned actually throughout my whole life has really refined what I can teach others, so you can time collapse your goals and that you could rise up again and again and again.
I love that. I love that. I love when you tell the story, and I know that it's like it's hard to, to because you have to constantly you're reliving that story over and over and over again, like you've been hit. But then the thing is you've told that story so many times, probably close to 1,000 or more. But you keep going, and I think that every time you say the story, for me, who's heard it numerous times, it means more. It's like I get a little bit more out of it. I can relate to it.
Oh,
Like just like when you said we've all been hit by something, I'm like, yeah, like it. Maybe it's not a vehicle or whatever, but we've been through pain or trauma or you know, hit with like a loss of a job or all of these other things. And but we have to keep going. It's up to us to push us forward. Nobody's going to do it for us.
mm-hmm.
We're the ones that have to get that strength and like you said, that resilience and that courage just to keep moving forward. And I think that that's so important. We got to get out of that why is me? Why is this all happening to me? That victim mentality and think, okay, how can I be a warrior from this? What is God teaching me to learn from this? And how can I keep moving forward? And I think that that's really what's also important is that you keep moving forward even through all the trials and tribulations that you've had ups and downs and you know you keep going like you just said 3 weeks ago you were in the hospital again and you just keep going and I think that that's what's important and I would love to know is what is your daily routine and I know that you're really into fitness still so what is your routine like and how do you keep motivating yourself to do the workouts I mean ladies and gentlemen if you're listening to this when she goes out on stage prior to going out on stage she's doing push-ups and all the things like she is just a fitness warrior. So how do you do that? How do you get into that shape that you're in?
Oh, well, goodness, thank you. I'm grateful that I grew up as an athlete because it really helped me. I mean, even in the hospital, And I've had people reach out to me and go, "Well, I don't know how I can work out. I can't move. I've got, CRPS." And I'm like, "Well, if it's in your leg, then just go do upper body. Or if it's in your arm, just go do lower body. Like, but do what you can. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can." And even in the hospital bed, I had asked the doctors, I was like, "Okay, I need you to install a pull up bar over me because I can't get out of bed, but I can do pull ups. I can keep my upper body strong." I had one of my friends, Danny, who I worked with, he was a trainer at the gym. I said, "Hey, can you bring me some weights?" And it wasn't like I was trying to do huge heavy weights in the hospital bed. I just needed something to move, because when you move, it moves your mood, it moves your mindset, it makes you feel like you're doing something or moving in the right direction. It did for me anyway. And when you move, it really changes the energy of your body, and it energies everything, and everything is energy. But I will tell you, there are plenty of days where I don't feel like working out. And I rely, willpower goes out the window. So I rely on discipline, and I have to talk to myself a lot of times rather than listening to myself. And I talk to myself and say, because if I listen, I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel like working out today. It's really cold out. My little nugget puppy dog is the cutest, sweetest, cuddly thing. And I got a fire going." And then I'm like, "No, Amberly, get up, go to the gym, just do it. Once you get there, it'll be fine." And so I go to the gym, and then I sit in the parking lot and I start scrolling through Instagram. I don't know if I'm the only one, but
You're
I do
not.
that. And I'm like, "Get out of the car, get in there, go work out," and so I'll tell myself, "You're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel more confident," because it does boost your confidence. It also sparks joy. And so once I get in there, it's always, and I used to tell myself this when I was able to run, the first 5, sometimes 10 minutes were really hard. And I would tell myself, if I can just push through the first 5, 10 minutes, then I'm good to go. Then it's easier. And that's the thing. Like, when you do the hard thing first, it gets easier in life, in working out, in everything. But if you do the easy thing, life gets harder. If you want to do the easy thing and binge Netflix and eat potato chips and watch TV, life is going to get harder. You're not going to feel confident. You're not going to get the work done. You're not going to get stronger. You might even start to get sick. You might even start to lose muscle or gain weight. And so I think being an athlete my whole life has really helped me. But I do push-ups and prayer before every time I do a talk, because and I've done that ever since I can remember, even before I was going to go on stage as a dancer, because push-ups and chest press, that exercise alone is the number one exercise that boosts your confidence. But push-ups and moving your body, it gets your adrenaline going. It also, if you're anxious, it moves that energy out of your body, and it makes me feel like I'm getting ready to go. And so I think moving your body releases endorphins, which is that feel good chemical, and it's natural. So it's always been my drug of choice. And I don't know about you, but when I see somebody that takes care of their health and their body, and they do care about, their strength and their health as wealth, then I respect them. I'm like, "Okay, what you take care of your health, you must take care of business too." Like, and so I think that I've learned more this year than any other year. I traveled, I think I was on 32 flights this year. I spoke on, I think, 58 stages that were in person, and that doesn't include the virtual stages. And then I was in the hospital 9 times. And so it looks good and shiny from the outside, and things must be easy, but I feel like this year has been a roller coaster. It's been on stage doing something really cool and exciting, and then in a hospital bed, and then on stage, and then back in the hospital. And so I share this because I work out like I am preparing for, like my life depended on it, because it does.
That's so good. And as you're saying that, I'm like, man, Angelina, you need to get yourself in gear because I've had, we when we met let last seen each other, I think in March. I was going through some health issues. I've been going through some health issues and I had surgery and stuff like that. But I'm like, I'm limited in what I can do, but you're right. I can do certain things, and as like I love my dogs. I love watching your Nugget, but I have dogs as well. And one of the things I do is like they want me to walk, so I started walking them. I'm like, I can do that. I can't. I have a weight restriction. I have certain things that are restrictive, but I can walk. Walk costs me. It doesn't take anything to walk the dogs. And I also loved when you said when you used to run, and I used to be a runner too. Is like it's just the first part of running. Like for me, it was like if I could just get to this light pole and then the next light pole and the next light pole, because I was never really a athletic person. I didn't grow up in athletic household. We didn't have that. I did run here and there. I played soccer when I was younger, but it was a financial thing, and so we only got to play one season. And so I would just run to get out of the house. Like I would just run around. We lived in a trailer, and I'd run in around the trailer park just to get out of the house or get away because I had a family
Yeah.
of six. Lived in a
Yeah.
six siblings, so you want to get away. But I love that, and it's like I had that mindset then. Is like, why can't you just continue to do that? And so, thank you for inspiring me because it's like I need to take care of myself. And I even told my husband earlier before we were recording is that I need to do. I need to. I schedule a lot of things, and I'm like, I just need to say like non-negotiables. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work out and do this thing for 10, 20, whatever minutes it is, whatever my body can handle. And then
Mm-hmm.
the next day do a little bit more and a little bit more. And so thank you for sharing that with me because it's like you're very, athletic, you have a great body and
Oh, thank you.
such an inspiration, and it's like why she can do it through all these things. She's in chronic pain. Like stop the excuses and just do it, right? I love when you said
Yeah.
that. Just do it.
Thank you. Well, you know what? I have experienced that when I couldn't do it. So there's times I remember, I used to live in LA and I would have a little break in between clients and I would go down. We lived right near this big, mountain, a park where I could hike up and over and take me down a fire road. And I can still hike. I can't run the way that I used to. I can run for a little bit, but I've tried it over and over and over, and my leg just it kills me after. So
Mhm,
it's not worth it. But
mhm,
I would get down to the bottom of the mountain and go, "Oh, I don't feel like doing this." And I'm like, "No, wait. I get to do this. I get to do this because I have been stuck in a hospital bed." So even, getting out of the hospital, like my legs were a little sore and my abs were a little sore. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so grateful that my abs and my legs are sore because I got to work out." And
mhm,
so I mean, there were times, Angelina, when I would get out of surgery and there was this, I was in my wheelchair at the gym. It would drive my husband crazy because I still had a PICC line in my arm and my leg was all bandaged up. And it probably was crazy for me to be in the gym, but it was wrapped, but I was
mhm.
still staples and stitches. And I would get out of my wheelchair and stand on one leg to do like tricep push downs or the seated row. And I had, one of my friends that was a trainer that would kind of help me get out of the wheelchair a little bit and do those things. And so people saw me in the gym in a wheelchair, on crutches, back in a wheelchair with a walker, hobbling around, barely walking. The thing is, 2 weeks after I got out of the hospital, I was already back in the gym. And I mean, that's coming out of a coma and having 34 surgeries, but I knew that I was in, and when I got out of the gym, I had time, like sometimes like 6 months in between surgery, and I would train in those months like I was going to battle, not because it was easy, not because of any other reason, that I had to get through this because there was a chance that they could still amputate my leg. And I remember, this is months after I'd gotten out of the hospital. I had a nurse come over to the house and she was going to assess like what needs I would have. And like would I need a walker? Would I need a scooter? Would I need a motorized scooter? What would I need to, like, I had to change the bathroom. Everything was changed into like a handicapped house where I
Mm-hmm.
had a ramp and everything that would get my wheelchair up. And she comes over and she goes, well, let me see your leg. And at the time I had like 2 compression socks on my leg and it was just so much pain. But I remember pulling my pants leg up and rolling the compression socks down. And she looks at it and she goes, are you going to keep it? And I was like, what do you mean? Am I going to keep it? I got it. It's my leg. I'm keeping my leg.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of where I was for months and months and months and so that's why when I think about times like that and I feel like, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm going to skip it. Or, oh, I don't feel like writing down my gratitude for my gratitude list. Or, oh, I'm going to skip the prayer. Or, oh, I'm going to skip the journaling or whatever my non-negotiables are, I think of the alternative. And all these things like writing your gratitude list, working out, getting on your knees and praying, all these things might sound, going to my AA, oh, I'm not supposed to talk about a 12-step program. I got sober in 2016. I started drinking after, you know, trying to get out of pain. And by the grace of God, I got sober. If I didn't do all these things, and it may sound like a lot, but it's a hell of a lot easier than a life of misery.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And I know that what you said, like you have these non-negotiables and it's your gratitude, working out your gratitude journal and writing all those things down is so important because when you don't do it, you can get stuck into a state of depression. And I know that this year for me was one of the years where I have faced the most depression because I wasn't doing the things that I needed to do. I've been, I'm not traveling. The year before in 2014, I was able to travel. I think I had 60 plane rides, got to travel, got to go to all kinds of events. This year, I only got to go to 2 events and I got to drive to those events. And that was the only reason I was able to go to them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that, and both of them, luckily, I got to see you. That was when we went to, Secret Knock, and
Oh,
then yeah,
yeah.
Secret Knock, and then, Scottsdale. And so I was able to drive to those because I'm not allowed to fly right now because I can't sit too long on a plane because my back compresses. But
Oh,
with all of those things, like, so it's depression, right? You want that human connection. You want to see your friends. You've been, all of these things, but it's like I can make the choice. And like you said, it's a choice. It's a non-negotiable. I can go ahead and move my body. And I've noticed when I go outside and walk the dogs, or I just go to church or do something like that, my energy levels are so high. Like it's
hmm.
soaring. And it's because I'm moving my body. But when you
Yeah.
stay, and like you said, energy is motion, and we got to get all that negative stuff out of our bodies. It could be
Mhm.
emotions and all those things. And when we just suppress them and just, okay, I'd rather just take a nap and not think about the things. You still think about all the things you're going through. So why don't you just go out and move your body and stop thinking about, and just make your life positive, right?
Yeah. And that's really helped me. So when I had a dog, she was 2.5 pounds. She was my little therapy dog. She was with me through every surgery. But she was so tiny, like, she didn't really demand to go for a walk. She was so little, occasionally
Mhm.
we would take her out, but my dog Nugget, who you've seen, Nugget is like, oh, she's the sweetest, but she's also very spicy and she needs to go out for walks. And it really has forced me to get outside and it's been amazing. And I get outside and I don't take my phone. I'm
Right.
just in the present moment. And so I think nature is so healing, even if I've got, like this morning, I've been on calls all day since 6 o'clock this morning, and I had one 30-minute break. And so I went outside the office, grabbed her, put her on, and went for a walk, came back in. And it just changes everything. It makes you feel better mentally, physically, spiritually, because I talk to God and nature. And so, whatever your non negotiables are, stick to it so you can thrive, that you can battle the depression, because I've been there. If I didn't move, I think and I didn't have my gratitude list, I know I would still be depressed. It's my medicine.
Mhm. So good. That's so good. So all the things that you have going on right now, like what are you doing right now, and what's 2026 look like for you?
Oh, it's getting exciting. I don't know when this is going to air, but I think the most exciting thing that I have coming up, I've got a lot of speaking events coming up where I get to travel all over. So I'll be traveling more. But the most exciting thing is the Unstoppable Success Summit is in April 30th. And this year we're doing it totally different. Totally different. It's going to be a charity event. I'm donating proceeds to Call to Freedom, which is an organization that helps women who have been, survived human trafficking. So I wanted to make an event where it's going to impact the audience, the people who attend, and to rise up and to be unstoppable in their life and their business. But I also wanted it to impact in other ways. So I'm like, wow, if I can impact these women and help them rebuild their lives, get their housing. And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm excited about it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And all your events are always amazing. And so you bring forth just amazing speakers, but not also the working together, the connections that we make from people. I remember the first event that I went to of yours. I met some amazing people who I've actually developed like really good relationships with, and they've been on my podcast, or I've had them like speaking events that I virtual speaking events I was able to put together. Met some amazing people, I can't even think. I'm probably about 20 to 30 of them have been from your events. So,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I'm blessed. I feel so blessed that I get to meet and connect so many people. That's one of my favorite things is when I can meet somebody and go, "Oh, you've got to meet Angelina," or "Oh, you've got to meet this person or that person." Um, Connection is so important. We're not meant to do hard things alone. So when you can get in a community of people who believe in you, who see the potential in you, who are going to cheer for you, who you can say, "You know what? I got this big idea," and they don't call you crazy. They're like, "Hey, how can I help you with it?"
Mhm.
It's amazing. So I love. I've got some people that have come to every single event. And I started in 2020, so 2026 will be my 6th Unstoppable Success Summit.
I love that. I love that. Well, as we wrap up, I would love to just for you to share how people can connect with you. How can they find you? What's the best way?
Yeah, you can find out about my books, my podcast, The Amberly Lago Show, and the event, the Unstoppable Success Summit at amberlylago.com, and also get some freebies there. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram and see some of the behind the scenes shenanigans with my dog Nugget, who really I think I should have named her Big Mac because she was supposed to be 20 pounds and she's 50 pounds. And just DM me at Amberly Lago Motivation, but find out about all the events and all the upcoming events and fun stuff at amberlylago.com. And Angelina, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for the good work that you put out in the world and the goodness that you share. And I just adore you and I'm so appreciative of you. And I hope I get to see you at the Unstoppable Summit.
Oh, yes, yes. But I have one more thing before we finish,
Mhm.
and that is, and I'll make sure I put all your links in the show notes. But I always ask my guest, what is one thing, a word, a phrase, an action, something that they need to do, a book, anything they need to do today that they can start today to in order to refine and shine.
Yes, go out there and see how you can serve. Go out there and see how you can help someone. So, if you're sad, go help someone. If you're anxious, go help someone. If you're happy, go help someone. But be a joy sparker in the world and go see how you can help because when you give without any expectations, you will always receive. And we're not meant to do hard things alone. So keep shining your light. Go out there. If you have any shame or you have any darkness, shine a light on it, but don't do it alone. You can reach out to me. I'm the one checking all the DMs. So reach out to me, send me a DM. I just don't want you to do it alone because um, reaching out for help is what really saved my life. So reach
Mhm.
out for help. Don't do it alone, I guess, is out of everything I could share. That's the most important thing.
Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fill your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine.
If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. Until next time, keep refining and keep shining.